Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Lap Down Podcast. I am Jamie. I will be your host for this evening. As always, I got Greg Farmer here with me. I got Ryan Dyer. We got Tyler. We got Rumble. And we got our special guest of the evening, singer, producer, writer from the Alkyli Project, pouring himself a little shot right there. It is Wil Bane. Let's give it up for Will.
Hey, Will.
Hello. Oh, that's strong.
Kicking it off with a bang, huh?
What you got there?
How the fuck you doing?
Hello.
I was trying to amp it up there.
Yep.
Chase that back.
Welcome to the crazy crew. How are you doing today, man?
I'm alcoholic right now, apparently. That's fun. But yeah, it's been quite a day. Lots of work, amping myself up to come on here for the first time since I woke up. So, and now here we are.
Yeah, welcome to the crazy crew.
I'm here after it's been a rough week for me, but I'm here. I'm back.
And you're here, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like right now, nothing else. Just this podcast.
So before we get into our normal discussions, I wanted to take some time to talk about the Alkyli Project. How did the Alkyli Project come to be? Will?
It was a COVID baby, and I'm sure there's lots of those now after all the time people had by themselves together. But this one is this one's not a child. It's just my music baby. I've put out 2 LPs so far, 3 EPs, I think. 2 cover songs, 1 Metallica, 1 Slayer. I'm working on more, but it came around. It was it was a rough time for me in May of 2020. I was going through a breakup. It seemed like The Walking Dead was becoming a reality, and as much of the shows I've seen, I don't want to try to live in it. As much Fallout as I've played, I couldn't survive either. I needed. I was in a band with a friend of mine, Alan, and then I moved up here an hour away. We just kind of stopped doing stuff for a few years. I had wanted to pick music back up, and May of 2020 seemed like the right time to start doing music again with everything going on. So here we are 4 years later. 4? I don't know. I'm not gonna try to do math.
4 years later, 2 albums out. Latest one is Blood World. Personally, I want to say thank you for creating the intro and outro music for the Lap Down Podcast. So from all of us here at the Lap Down Podcast, I generously and graciously say thank you.
Yeah, thank you for trusting me with it.
Thank you, sir.
Oh yeah.
But I'm very interested. What is the writing process and inspiration process for when you go to start writing these songs and just kind of taking what you're feeling and putting it to pen and paper?
Music always comes first. Lyrics come later. Generally, I'll have an idea of what I want a project to look like. Like I'll have song titles, but I don't start writing any song with this is going to be this song or this is going to be this song. I just pick up one of my many children off the wall and start writing. And that's how everything comes around, including the intro song, which is called, well, it's the most generic NASCAR intro song title you could ever come up with, Wheel to Wheel. I couldn't think of anything faster. But I'll sit down, I'll start writing something. I'll come up with a working title for it. Like the first song that for Blood World that I wrote, I started writing during the spring 2023 Martinsville Cup race. And the working title for that was Tire at the Wall, because of Mr. BJ McLeod's tire that was indeed at the wall. You need a placeholder to save a file, and that worked. I think there was one where we decided we were going to go see Metallica in Chicago this year that day. So the working title for that one was Chicago Riffage, and
nice. Yeah. So speaking of Blood World, I got some personal favorites of mine. I think "Bleeding the Silent Flame," the instrumental version, that's something that jams me up as I'm getting ready for work and pumps me up. And then from a lyrical standpoint, I think it's the fourth track, "In the Darkest Light," is a song that I really felt, and I think
Oh, shit.
it's definitely one that I definitely enjoy.
The Harvester of Sorrow of 2023. I think
Facts.
that's what I told my producer whenever I sent it to him. Was this sounds like if Metallica wrote that song in this year of 2023, the year of our Lord.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Obviously, at being a writer and a producer and a singer and all being involved in everything that there is when it comes to uh, creating the song. I know you have a lot of pride in it. So with that pride, let people know where they can check it out, where they can uh, help you out directly.
The easiest way to do it would be linktree.com/alkyli project. ALKYLI, the word project. That's got a link to my Bandcamp where you can buy that, and you can buy the physical versions of Blood World, of which there are many laying around here. They're coming out of my walls. They have invaded my house. Uh, you can buy that there. I don't have any actual merch anywhere like T-shirts or anything because I don't want to go through like a company to just drop ship it because they're just gonna send the shirts off to some third world country for child slaves to make the shirts, and I don't want that. I don't want to be associated with that. I want to have shirts made like at a good like union print shop where it's made by a good people being paid good wages, and that requires money that I don't have. Uh,
Uh,
so uh that may come in the future, but as for right now, the only physical thing is these and stickers that everybody gets one when they buy one of these.
Well,
Uh,
you can support him by buying his music because
yeah,
that's what I went and did.
yeah.
Right?
And that link tree has links to Spotify, Apple Music, uh, wherever it is that I could think of at the time when I made the link tree. Uh, it's linked there, and there's
Pandora.
even a if you don't want to buy anything, if you don't want to go stream, there's a tip jar that goes straight to my PayPal. If you want to drop $1 or whatever, or if you don't think highly of me, a penny, whatever you want to do. Uh,
I would
yeah,
suggest buying his
all up to
stuff
you.
personally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with Rumble on that one. I'm cool with that too.
Oh, I did, right? I went and got like
Yeah,
the early copy of it right away. As soon as you
yeah.
shared it. That's how you can support someone. That's how you
Mhm.
do it.
Hey, Will, how much are the albums going for?
I think on Bandcamp the just digital version is 7, but
Yeah, I think that's about what I think that's what it was.
yeah, I think the album version is 10, but that's just because it has to cover like production and stuff.
Okay.
But you can pay more if you want. It's all up to you.
Right? You can pay more if you
And
want.
I'm not even making a joke there. That's literally seven
Right.
dollars or more is what it says on there.
Right. Absolutely.
I like it. I like it. So one thing that we do
Support
here
the
at the
man.
Lapdown, yeah, yeah, support this man over here. One
Thanks.
thing that we do here at the Lapdown Podcast is kind of like a christening. We want to get into the realm of NASCAR. How did you get into NASCAR? Uh, who was one of your favorite drivers growing up? Who's your current favorite driver now? Give us some insight as to how you got into that world.
It was a family thing back when my mom and dad were married. They took me when I was a wee babe at the age of 3 in 1996 to Talladega, which has always been the closest track to me, 3 hours away. Uh, it's a lovely drive through nothing but trees. Um, Again, I was 3, so we did not stay for more than a lap. It was very loud for my wee little ears. I don't. They probably weren't happy with having to leave early, but I was stagnant in NASCAR till 2005 when I caught my mom watching Homestead. Uh, she was a Tony Stewart fan, so she was definitely happy. Uh, I started watching the next year, and she told me, when you were a kid, you liked Jeff Gordon. So I just was like, okay. So I like Jeff Gordon. He was my favorite driver till he retired. And then for a few years there, I didn't really have a favorite driver. I just kind of paid attention. I mean, I had people that like I pulled for, not like as a favorite, but I'm like, oh, but they're cool. One of them being Kyle Larson, which didn't work out a few years after.
Curse you, pandemic.
Yep, 2020 happened.
To everybody. Then when I had been following Bubba Wallace since like 2010 when he was in the K&N series. I was in high school and I was on NASCAR.com. Wasn't supposed to be, but I was. I saw a link to him winning like his first K&N race or something. Like, oh, he seems cool, and turned out he was like a metalhead and stuff. So that worked out. Then he went full time in 2018, and it wasn't a hard decision at that point for who was going to be my favorite.
Hey, there we go.
But-
Side note, speaking of the K&N series, Frankie Muniz, coming in from ARCA, now getting a shot in the Xfinity series. Yeah, he's somebody that's been impressing me lately. He's not trying to do like the typical celebrity route and just throwing his money around to get good sponsors and good equipment immediately. He's kind of going through the grind and trying to prove to the doubters that he actually loves racing, and he's trying to be a part of the racing community and do things the right way. And I kind of felt that same way with Bubba Wallace. Now, obviously, Bubba Wallace wasn't a sitcom star as a child or anything like that, but I definitely noticed some similarities to how Bubba Wallace moved up through the chains and how Frankie Muniz is doing it almost similar pathways.
Yeah, Frankie's definitely got a leg up. Whereas as Bubba was coming up, he didn't have he didn't have PR people telling him what to do and what not to do and what to say and what not to say. Whereas Frankie Muniz has been in that world, the world of PR, since he was a child, being a child actor. And then 2020 and 2021 rolled around, and Bubba finally got PR people, or so you would think.
Speaking of Frankie Muniz, did you guys happen to see that interview about how he came to be a NASCAR fan?
I have not, no.
No, I can't
So real quick story time. He did this interview. He attended the 2001 Daytona 500.
And talk to Dale Earnhardt.
And yes, Tyler, you are correct. He was the last person to have face-to-face contact with Dale Sr. before he passed away. And he was a big Dale Sr. fan. And Kenny Schrader gave him an M&M's jacket on pit road. And both Kenny and Dale Sr. signed it. And yeah, he talked to Senior right before he climbed in the car, and then Frankie rode in the pace car to start the race. And we all know what happened with Senior and Sterling Marlin and Kenny Schrader at the end of the race and stuff. Well, come to find out, last year when he made his first career ARCA start at Daytona, the chassis that he was using was the same chassis that Sterling Marlin drove in that Daytona 500.
No fucking way.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I am dead serious.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
Pretty cool. That
So
technology was still usable.
It literally all came full circle some 22 years later.
Oh, that's actually kind of wild.
It doesn't even make sense because it's such a big gap in time.
Well, the chassis ARCA uses old NASCAR chassis.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So yeah, I didn't know that story at all. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I didn't realize that. Thank you for bringing that up, Greg. That's awesome.
No problem.
See, I love this podcast because even getting on here and I think I know stuff. They're just guys like you guys who just throw random things at me, and I'm like, huh. Well, I learned something today, and that's always a good thing.
There you go.
Luckily, when I throw things,
we're
they
gonna
can't hit you in Delaware.
I mean, I can try to throw this cork at him, but I won't hit him.
I don't know. Connor might try to throw that Royal Farms or whatever it is that he's eating over there. He might try to throw that at me as well. But let's continue this conversation. This is airing on Thursday, so I know we all just got done watching the qualifying, or at least some snippets of it. What is something that stood out to you guys from the results of qualifying?
Fuck Joey Logano.
I don't disagree.
Anyway.
I do not disagree there.
Actually, what surprised? Can I say something real quick?
Yep.
You want to know what surprised me? Hendrick was not very fast.
No, they're not.
I was gonna say they were in the mix, but normally they are the mix.
Can I say something about this? Can I say something about this quickly? When it comes to Sunday, there's two new bodies there, and there's the old Chevys there. None of us know how this is going to play out. There's going to be the duels tomorrow. We don't know how these cars are going to play out running against each other, with each other. They're all going to. We already know the strategy. They're going to pit together. They're going to work together, but we don't know how these cars are going to line up and drop together. So this is something really, I would say, new to us in the last while. Like two new bodies, and we're waiting for Chevy to come out next year with theirs, right? What's your all thoughts on that?
I think
Well, I was
honestly,
going to say with that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The Fords, not the Fords, the Toyotas, that more flat front end. They didn't really have like great individual speed. I think Ryan, what was it that you said earlier? The
22nd was the best.
22nd fastest in a group of 40 that was involved.
And
but
that was Eric Jones.
Because of how those front nose are put together, those things are going to be like steel locomotives just traveling through the turns of Daytona with a draft. I think the Fords are going to have the best overall speed, where Chevy, I feel like, kind of went for more of a balanced approach, Hendrick included. Instead of trying to get the fastest individual, they realized last year and the years before, like, you could see, like, whenever they got some good pushing going on from the draft, those Chevys got a little sideways. So I think that's an adjustment that they made from the Chevy standpoint. But
they made
the
Camaro more flat. If you look at the cars, made it a little bit more flat.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the adjustments that they're making. But if you're looking for overall speed, I think the Fords are going to have the overall speed. I think the Toyotas are going to be the pushers and the ones who get each line moving. So it's gearing up to be a very, very interesting Daytona 500.
I think so too.
Can I add on that? Oh, I think about 2010, the early 2010, late Talladega, two-car tandem. I think that's going to be back quite a bit.
Because I don't see that. Not with the packages that these new next
not with the packages. They're going to be pushed. Well, the
I don't
Toyotas
see that happening either.
I don't see them breaking out in the pack. But I'll be seeing them being like bump drafting and pushing a lot more than they have in the past.
Yeah, you'll see people pushing like two cars push and like get out ahead of everybody, and then they'll get swallowed up. But I was trying to do the math in my head, which doesn't really go well. The highest Toyota was 22nd. Bubba was the third highest Toyota, and he was 28th.
Yeah.
And then right behind him was Ty Gibbs. So that's out of 9 total Toyotas, if my math was right.
Those are top Toyotas. Those are top Toyota drivers right there, and they're way back in the field.
But I don't think that relates. I don't think that relates to Sunday when they're in a pack and drafting.
I agree.
I don't think that relates.
No,
Ryan, Greg, what are you guys' thoughts on these?
I mean, yeah, Toyota definitely struggled with the single car speed, and it's not overly surprising because they typically haven't been overly quick in qualifying. Now, we haven't seen them be quite this bad in qualifying. Usually there's 1 or 2 inside the top 20. And I just went and checked, and they're actually split 4 and 4 between the two duels. So the fact that there are 8 of them this year is going to help them, the
And-
strength in numbers in the
There's
duel.
9.
Yes.
Just remember, 2 of them are also going
Oh, is there
homers
9?
too as well.
Yes.
Yeah, there's 9. 2 of them are going
because Jimmy
homers too.
Johnson's an extra Toyota.
What's your thoughts on it, Greg?
So I have a few thoughts. One, 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars qualified in the top 10. The only odd man out was the man that has been starting on the front row the last 6 years in a row, Alex Bowman. His streak came to an end. 2, there are no Hendrick cars on the front row for the first time in the last, I want to say 8 or 9 years.
10 years, actually.
Yes.
Last time there was no
Wow.
Hendrick front row was 2000. Actually, no. There's been a Hendrick car on the front row every year since 2009. If you think about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Number
Love that.
Number 3, Michael McDowell looked like the class of the field until Joey Logano came along there at the end.
Right.
And number 4, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but so back right before the 2011 season, they repaved Daytona after the track started coming apart in the 2010 Daytona 500. And during qualifying tonight, there were a bunch of cars getting loose in the turns. So I'm looking at it. Handling may be becoming sort of an issue for Sunday.
Again.
It's becoming like racing old Daytona because the track's starting to wear back down. It's actually starting to good. Like I said it actually like 2 years ago when I noticed cars were bottoming out more and more.
Yeah, and again, this kind of talks about like the body builds of the cars and things like that. I think that's where Toyota's going to have the advantage because they're able to push better. They're more square, and even though they don't have the top end speed, if you just get a bunch of them in a line, that could be the ultimate decider of the actual 500 race.
I think they're going to be hard to beat on Sunday.
It'll be interesting because we all know everything's going to be well and dandy for the first like 450 miles,
right,
and then
right.
the final,
Until it gets down to
final 50 miles, they're like, oh, we only got 25 laps to get this thing done, and we want to put ourselves in the way to win this thing, and that's when manufacturer bondness is going to be broken, and that's when all the fun happens. But
I have a feeling there's going to be a big wreck at the end of the race, like there usually is.
No kidding.
Bold
Brian
prediction
Newman
there, buddy.
flying into the wheel, right? Brian Newman.
Something that we might do here at the Lap Down Podcast we may not air it as like a stream or nothing, but Ryan, how would you feel at creating a Daytona 500 bingo card and we just play that throughout the 500?
I actually might be down for that.
I could throw one together.
Come on.
Well, you would have to create like different ones because they can't all be the same.
Yeah,
we all have to have different ones.
I can create.
How many times Clint Boyer? We should play a drinking game too as well. How many times Clint Boyer mentions Kansas City team?
I'm gonna be bad at
hey, if you want, here's a drinking game for Rumble to play. He might be the only one that can keep up with this, but take a shot every time they show the Ryan Priest flip.
Yeah, it's like I'll be able to.
It how many times tonight?
I know they showed that like 6 times during his one lap.
I will be able to hang in that drinking game, and then also to add to that point, I'll be able to carry it into Monday because I got a day off, and that's when they're gonna fucking run that race. Otherwise, it's gonna be way late Sunday. I was looking at Daytona's weather for Sunday.
They're thinking about 2012. They're thinking about like 2012, like what they did in 2012.
Yeah,
from looking at the weather.
Well, hopefully we don't have a fire on the track like we did in 2012.
Oh my! Montoya, stay away from Jet Ryan.
I don't need more of my time getting blown up.
Looking at my weather app on my phone, I'm not trying to cut you guys off, but looking at my weather app on my phone, it's showing Daytona Beach on Sunday is raining until fucking 6 p.m. So
that's pretty normal for Florida.
And then let's think about
it. It absolutely, you're not wrong, Ryan. It absolutely is.
You just think about it.
I think Will was going to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
You know how many drivers you need to start a fire at Daytona? Just one.
One. Just
I was
one.
gonna, I was gonna go. I was gonna go with two, but okay.
Just one.
No, I got the joke. I got the joke. Well, it's just one.
Yep.
Okay.
Just
I
one.
was going to add on to
Previous
Denny.
comment.
Denny, to
Are you
add on
talking
to
about-
that.
Are you talking about Juan Pablo?
Yeah,
So I
that's
have to do a
the
jet
whole
track?
pun. That was the whole
World-class
joke.
race car driver, won IndyCar races, won F1 races, won NASCAR races. The only thing NASCAR fans
Climbed
remember
in the
him for is
jet
that.
track. Yes,
It's
absolutely.
legit dry.
The only thing we remember was when
Okay.
he went and hit that. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that day too. Like they came back from commercial, and it's just the camera zoomed in on the jet dryer, just up in flames.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
Ow.
I was
Absolutely.
like, what just
Dude,
happened?
I was 11
We
years
were-
old when that happened.
We were
Yep.
all like, "What? What's going on here?" And then when they show the replay, it's like, Juan
Anyway.
Pablo, you're gonna live in
That
infamy
jet dryer
forever, Juan
definitely had a
Pablo.
target on his back.
Anyway, add on to Denny what Denny was saying about the weather. It's going to end at like 6 o'clock, but then it takes like almost an hour and a half to dry the track.
Right.
And we
Right.
don't have rain tires for this track.
Can you
no.
imagine rain tires at 200 miles an hour?
Oh, that'd be terrible.
That'd be terrifying.
Don't be
That'd be
actually.
terrible.
Do it, NASCAR.
Just imagine the
I was
rooster
just
tails
gonna
coming
say-
off
I
of
was
those
just gonna
cars.
say,
I
was
mean,
just
then
gonna
again,
implement it, NASCAR. This is what we all want to see.
I can drive 80 miles an hour back from Bristol, 8 hours in a Subaru. They can do it.
I could drive a Chevy Impala 80 miles an hour going from fucking Cincinnati, Ohio to New York City in 80 miles an hour too.
In the
so,
rain.
Yes. I do that.
Mm.
I can do it in the snow. So
This is
He's
Mississippi. We're
doing
never
it in the
prepared for that.
snow.
I can do it in the snow because I'm a Northeastern boy.
So, next question for you guys. Were you guys surprised about who the pole sitters were? Not necessarily the fact that it's like a Joey Logano and a Michael McDowell, but going into qualifying with the different body builds, with all the storylines that played into it, the little glimpses you got from the Clash, if you want to even give any of that any type of merit at all. I know
Not at all.
Rumble definitely does. He's made that very vocal.
Not at all.
But were you surprised about the front row being Joey Logano on the inside and Michael McDowell on the outside?
I know Rumble
Yes
wasn't.
No.
and no.
So
Go ahead, Will.
this one, I think we're gonna go one at a time. So we'll start off with Will.
Go ahead, Will.
Joey, no. Joey's good at plate tracks. He's one of the best. And like we've mentioned before, the Ford seemed to have prepared for individual speed. But Michael McDowell, I'm not gonna say he surprised me like, oh my god, but it was definitely more of like okay, I see it, I can see it. I just didn't expect it. I guess that's a way to put it.
Yeah, I think
Didn't
that's a
expect
good way of
Austin
putting
Dillon
it.
either. I didn't expect Austin Dillon to be as fast as he was. But again, it's just individual speed.
And that's the thing about Michael McDowell. He's always been like one of those drivers that, like, when you're actually in the race, he just has a knack for getting himself to the front, even if he doesn't have the best of equipment. But now, at least from an individual standpoint, he is showing that him and his team have one of the top speed cars, which is going to make everything very interesting for come the duels and the 500. Greg, what's your thoughts on the pole sitters?
So Logano, I agree with Will. Not really much of a surprise because Logano is, pretty good at the super speedways. But like Will said, pole qualifying is based on individual speed. We already discussed the whole Toyota thing. Like the highest ranking Toyota was 22nd. They never really show up for qualifying. They more or less focus on their race package. The Fords, I feel, lean more into their qualifying package because if you look at last year for the 500, except for the front row, if I'm not mistaken, 8 of the top 10 starting positions were Fords. But they weren't even hardly relevant until about midway to 3/4 into the race.
Because they had to adjust the hell out of the cars.
Right. So they focus more on individual speed than they do group speed and drafting and all that. And you know, they're usually there in the late stages of the race. But like we've all been talking about, the new body with Ford and Toyota, and Chevy is kind of like on the back end of that now. I agree with what the comment Jamie said earlier. It is going to be very, very interesting come Sunday or Monday if it gets postponed.
Yeah. Tyler, what kind of thoughts you got going into the pole sitters?
Okay. So, like I said, you know how I predicted Roush to be the top two. But I'm not honestly surprised that there's Fords at the front, especially being Joey Logano or Michael McDowell. If you've seen, like I said, if you've seen I was saying earlier, if you've seen the last 10, 12 restrictor plate races, including the 2021, 2020 Daytona 500, Michael McDowell finished outside the top 10 maybe once. He's a super good super speedway racer. He's always up front. The front row has always actually been a solid super speedway since they came into the cup. And Penske's Penske. I actually think the Fords are going to do. I don't think they're going to be as relevant as like the Toyotas and the Chevys, because the Chevys I think are playing a little bit more conservative. But I think the Fords are going to be strong in general this season.
Yeah, Ryan. Before you give us your thoughts, would you say that before qualifying, Michael McDowell may have dabbled in some bulletproof coffee?
Definitely possible. Definite possibility.
Hey, I'll shout out Social Sports Podcast, which is one of our sponsors. Don't forget that Social Sports Podcast to talk about baseball, football, and all that.
Yep. On Tuesdays, and well, not actually, it seems like to be any day at this point. But the Hard Count is another podcast that is under the Social Sports Pad Network. So yeah, huge shout out to the Hard Count. But go ahead and give us your thoughts, Ryan.
All right. So first off, one of the things I noticed, I was looking back through everybody's predictions. Logano, the only person to predict Logano even on the front row was Rumble.
Damn,
so
Danny.
Credit to Rumble there on that one. Nobody else had Logano on the front row.
Oh, so what you're saying is Canada's the reason why we have Logano on the pole.
Yeah, well, technically Rumble picked Logano for the outside front row, but still, yeah.
God damn it, Denny.
I know.
Canada.
Somebody's got to get me the fuck out of here. Somebody should
Rumble
right now.
But
yeah, I live in Cincinnati. I don't have it much better to do. I live in Cincinnati.
Just boot me right now.
I
fucking hate Logano. I fucking hate Logano, and I called it. Fuck.
One second, Tyler. Did you say you were Northeast, and then you just said you're from Cincinnati?
I'm from Northeast. I moved to Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I do not count Cincinnati as Northeast, and I can guarantee you are not.
Ryan.
And say no one's more Northeast than me, but yeah.
You're Maine. You're from Maine.
So. Yeah, I am literally as far north and east as you can get without going up to Canada.
Hey, Ryan.
But yeah, honestly, I was really surprised and super excited to see McDowell get there because honestly, it looked like he was gonna barely bump his way into the top 10, and then he just came alive in the top 10 shootout where he ended up going up there, taking the top spot there for the moment, and then obviously got bumped off the pole by Logano, which was disappointing, but still plenty of excitement there for me. As
I feel like Rumble should get some bonus points for calling Logano, and
you got to race first.
That's it. And I hate that fucking guy.
Go Jojo.
Go ahead, Greg.
Go Jojo.
Hey Ryan, I have
Jojo.
I'm gonna die here. Oh my god.
Hey Ryan, I have a question for you.
Yep.
So you're kind of like our stat guy. When I was watching the broadcast, they were saying something about Alex Bowman's pole time last year was like a 49.7, and Logano's pole time tonight was like a 49.3 or 4. 49.4. So that's 0.3 faster than last year. Does it seem like that the single car speeds are getting faster every year?
Well, you could credit that to the fact that Ford does have a new body, so potentially that new body being faster, but also another year of development added to it.
I was just gonna say that maybe that
so
speaks volumes. That's 3-4 tenths a second.
It was only a tenth of a second difference between last year and this year. Last year was a 49.536, and tonight's time from Logano was a 49.465. So it was only about a tenth of a second difference, but that's could be the margin between victory and defeat.
Yeah, and when it comes to that, it's probably one of those things that, again, we kind of already rehashed like individual speed. I made my 2 cents on like Logano. I'd rather him not be there, but he's there. He's kind of on that same tier as Denny Hamlin for me at this point. Great drivers, but rather not see them in the front. But McDowell, I think this could be a good year for McDowell. It's them just creating a good package all around, has some decent speed out of the restrictor plate. Hopefully that transitions to the other tracks and just keeps him going in the realm of conversation when it talks to top guys. But with that, we're going to go ahead and go into our W Energy Bowl predictions. Based off of what we've seen just by qualifying, this is our Super Bowl predictions. Who is going to be your dark horse pick for the Daytona 500 winner? And we will go one by one. We will start with Greg.
Okay, so I'm going to go.
Ryan, jot it down.
I'm going to go a little comical right here to start off. Sunday, I think the rain is going to win. I do. I think the rain and the Air Titans are going to win on Sunday, but if we race on Monday,
the Air Titan 500.
Yeah, if we race on Monday, I want to say William Byron, but the only reason I say William Byron is because he's 0 for 5 in the Daytona 500. He has not finished a single 500 since he started his Cup Series career.
Oh, that's an interesting fact.
But he is a contender every week, so I can't really predict him. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say the third entry for RFK Racing, David Reagan, is going to win the Daytona 500.
Ooh.
That's definitely a bold pick, but he's at least locked into the field after tonight.
Yeah. Tyler.
Ooh, I wish I could only pick one. Crap. I had a couple. My dark horse pick, honestly, might be like one of the Stuart Haas guys. They actually impressed me with how quick they were during qual. I mean, they're in the top 15, all four of them. I see them being up there at the end of the race. I honestly think my prediction is I think Josh Berry pulls it off.
Okay. Josh Berry, it's got a possibility. Definitely still fits in the dark horse realm.
Stuart Haas, I mean, they impressed me. All four of them impressed me tonight.
And if we're talking about dark horse, they are running the Mustang dark horse bodies too.
That is true.
They are.
That's clever.
Like,
that's clever.
Dark horse was a good pun for how the qualifying turned out.
I was gonna make that pun.
We're gonna make that fun all night, aren't we?
Real quick before we go to Ryan, I just want to throw out one more interesting fact real quick. We were talking about Alex Bowman a minute ago, starting on the front row 6 years in a row, and that included 3 poles in the Daytona 500. But if you look back at the stats, the first lap he ever led in the Daytona 500 came in last year's race.
You know what? He keeps throwing out fun facts here. I'm gonna start slogonize. Is that a word? If not, yeah. I'm creating it into a word. Sloganize. It's now gonna become called the Farmer's Fun Facts.
Might get confused for farmers insurance, but
hey, the farmers. No, that's the farm. It's the farmer's fun fact of the day. I like that. The farmer's fun fact of the day.
Farmer's fun fact of the day. I like it. We're gonna put that into the pod. We're doing it. So
I got you.
Good job, Greg. You're now tasked with coming up with a fun fact each and every week.
All right.
All right, go ahead, if you ever need any help with fun facts, I know a guy.
I was gonna say I know a guy too.
All right,
Ryan.
What's your dark horse bowl prediction?
Okay.
I think he's wearing it right now.
I don't think I'm allowed to make that for a bold prediction. If I remember what you guys said about the rules on a dark horse prediction, it's not that they have to be driving a dark horse Mustang, but as I say, I think you said we couldn't count any former winners as dark horse picks, so technically Stenhouse wouldn't be an option. And I'm assuming Kyle Busch wouldn't be either, even though he technically hasn't won it before.
That is correct.
Okay, I kind of assumed since he's a former champion he wouldn't be considered a dark horse pick, but I wanted to confirm it because I know you guys were specifically talking about non-Daytona 500 winners, which he hasn't, and I really want him to. I think for my bold prediction, I'm gonna go with Chris Buescher. I think he's gonna justify me putting him in the top 10 on my power rankings earlier this week, and he's gonna go ahead and kick off the season with a win.
I kind of dig that, Ryan. That's not a bad pick.
Hey, I went and put him 10th on my power rankings because I felt like
he's a top 10 driver. He's actually shown that.
Yeah.
Anyway, who's next?
So far,
Rumble.
So far in our predictions, we have all Fords, 2 RFK drivers, and 1 Stewart-Haas driver.
Kind of sticking to the term dark horse, huh?
All right, Danny, what do you got?
So if you're asking Rumble,
don't you dare say Joey Logano.
I have no.
I will personally go all the way. I'll fly to Canada and slap you in the face if you say Joey Logano.
I'll hop on that plane with you.
I already said earlier about Logano, who I thought was going to get that, and I'd like to thank Ryan for pointing that out. But if we're talking dark horse here, is Chastain a dark horse?
Ooh, that's a good one.
He's not a former Daytona 500 winner. He's not a former champion, and he's only got 2 wins to his career. So I would say probably. I would count it.
Yeah, I would say you can use him.
All right.
So he's got single-digit win total in his career. No championship, no Daytona 500.
He's got 4 wins.
He's got three wins.
Boys.
4.
Rumble's going with Chastain.
Okay.
That's it.
Jamie, what do you got?
Well, before me, we're going to go to our special guest, Will. Who is your dark horse for the Daytona 500?
I would also like to point out that all but one person has picked a Ford so far, so I think everybody's just kind of bandwagoning. And with that being said, I'm picking Riley Herbst.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I wrote it down earlier. I haven't even changed it. You can see it. I wrote it down on there.
All right.
That is a real good pick.
Jamie, you going to keep the hype train going, or are you going to choose differently?
I'm going with the hype train. I'm going with the dark horse train here. And
Google gobble one of us. Google gobble one of us.
One of us. One of us.
And for the first time in forever, the iconic number 21 Wood Brothers Ford is going to be driven by Harrison Burton into the winner's circle of the Daytona 500.
Wow.
That'd be a Cinderella story in that.
That's definitely a dark horse pick.
I mean, mine's a pretty good. The last time they won
coming down to the checkered flag, it's going to be these 6 drivers in a pack together.
I guarantee. Yeah, watch that.
Honestly, it's a feel-good story for the Wood Brothers Ford to fucking go and win. We all know that. Sorry, anyone as old as me knows that.
13 years since I won the 500 last.
But listen, how fitting would it be, though, if Harrison Burton did win the Daytona 500, and that is win number 100 for the team?
There you
I
go.
was
Oh,
getting ready to say
yeah.
that, Greg.
I wouldn't be
Getting ready to say that.
offended.
You stole my thunder.
Just remember, his
I
father,
wouldn't be offended.
dude. But he'd be first. He'd be the first. He would match his father, and because Ward Burton is Ward Burton his father, or is Jeff his father?
Yeah.
Ward's his dad.
Ward.
Or, no,
Ward
Jeff's his dad.
Burton.
I think it's Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff's his
Yeah,
dad.
They're
Jeff.
both his dad. Both of them.
I was gonna say because
Yeah.
if Harrison Burton wins, he will match his uncle with his Ward for winning.
Yeah.
Because Jeff Burton never won the Daytona 500.
Nope.
Greg stole
But
Jamie's
also
thunder,
in-
but Jamie stole NASCAR script.
Honestly, nobody picked the fact that nobody picked a Toyota, which is good.
Well, because
Oh.
I can't be biased because my driver wouldn't be a dark horse at these play tracks. So
My driver ain't a dark horse either.
That's
Well, see-
exactly. That's exactly why I was asking what is a dark horse as far as your
Oh,
guys'
mine's for-
definition.
Oh, mine's for sure not a dark horse because he was the 2020 champion, and you can
Right.
call it a Mick. You
Kevin
can call it a
Harvick?
Mickey.
Right. It's no dark horse.
I'm a Chase Elliott fan, dude. Huge Chase
So am
Elliott
I.
fan.
So am I.
Daddy! Daddy!
So am I.
bandwagon.
Fuck
We'll see.
you, bandwagon.
see,
I've been
my-
watching NASCAR before you were fucking a bubble in your dad's eye.
But then again, it makes sense because I was a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan.
Oh,
Well,
jeez.
Well, see, my pick came down between two. It came down between David Reagan and Noah Gregson.
Ooh,
Uh,
Gregson would have been a good one.
But
honestly.
I was thinking back, David Reagan was a restart away from winning the 500 back in 2011 until he got that penalty. And I'm kind of biased because he's from Georgia and was born and raised in Georgia, so I had to go with like the hometown kid.
Oh, we have all different. Oh wow, we have all different backgrounds here.
And
Well, Jamie, you may want to fix your mic.
You don't sound very good, Jamie.
Yeah, try logging out, logging back in here.
You okay, Jamie?
Okay, now that he's gone, now that I've all gathered you here today.
Oh, just I got something here.
Anyway,
Anyways.
Look,
about
actually, no,
That's better.
yeah. Go ahead, Jamie, and say what you were going to say before I say what I was going to say.
yeah, I was going to say one thing that we should do, Ryan, for next week's episode. Keep tab of those picks, and whichever driver finishes the best out of our dark horse picks, we will do an air siren of victory for the
right.
person who chose correctly. Or
Hey, you get
Close
do
it.
an air victory for fucking Rumble. Because Chastain's gonna win.
just like that.
Hey,
Please?
how about we take it a step further and do like a point system too, and
Ooh,
see
like-
who
I like
can
that.
finish.
I
See who
like
can
that.
finish higher than everybody else come the end of the season.
I like that.
Well,
And from a points perspective, I'm definitely for that. But we're speaking in the realm of fantasy a little bit, and what better way than to go into our next segment? We're going to let Ryan Dyer lead with Dyer's do's and don'ts in the world of NASCAR fantasy. Talk about
All right.
strategy, Daytona 500 plays. Coach us up, Ryan.
All right,
Coach
so
Ryan Dyer to the rescue.
so the first step for NASCAR fantasy is obviously to sign up at the on NASCAR's website to play the NASCAR fantasy game, because that's what I go off of when I'm talking NASCAR fantasy. And yeah, the next step is to don't. Because yeah, it is.
Is to don't?
Daytona
So
is not a
don't
place
play?
to be to kind of use any of your kind of typical favorites. Your I would even say your Kyle Bushes, your Martin Truex Juniors, your a lot of your favorites just aren't worth the pick, considering the fact that you only get to use them 10 times throughout the regular season, and a lot of them are weekly contenders. You don't want to burn them all up by throwing away a pick at Daytona when they'll end up in a pile up on lap 20. So
Or 50
that's kind
or
of the first
75.
big kind of key to NASCAR fantasy is realizing that you got to make sure that you still have picks available come the end of the season, and don't want to throw away a pick at Daytona where the crash rate is literally pretty much 50-50.
Unless you're me, who won Daytona last year in my fantasy league with 225 points.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can hit big, but the question is whether or not you want to go big risk, big reward. Because it is very easy to go very wrong at Daytona. Just ask anyone who had Kyle Busch picked last year. They were looking so good all the way up to the 500-mile mark, and then the race continued.
Free meals. Yep, free. Everything.
Yeah. So what's some strategy plays, Ryan?
Okay, so some strategy plays, especially for the Daytona 500, would be to utilize a couple of your part-timers, your Riley Herbsts, your David Reagans in particular, the guys who are kind of super speedway specialists only in here for 1 or 2 races because you won't run out of them. So it's essentially a free pick because you won't run out of them, and typically they are in there because they run well at that specific type of race. So typically that's a pretty good value pick to try and squeeze in at least 1 or 2. Help you conserve maybe one of your normal starters like a Chase Elliott, a Kyle Busch. That's kind of the would be my typical MO, is to try and make sure that I still have some picks left by the end of the season. Half the time it's like, oh, I'm all out. Say when I'm prepping my lineup, it's like, oh, my friends are talking about like, oh, I'm out of Logano's, I'm out of something else, and it's like, we still have 3 weeks left in the season. What are you gonna do at like Darlington for the regular season finale if you run out of Logano's with 3 weeks to go?
That's some good points there.
Yeah, and it's one.
What was it you said, Will?
Said don't pick Chastain at Darlington. He'll hit the wall with Kyle Larson.
Yep.
I picked up for fucking Daytona. That's what I did.
But absolutely pick Chastain at Martinsville, though.
Yeah,
he'll hit the wall, but he'll do well. It'll turn out good for him.
I already picked Logano would be at the front of this shit when it started, and he's gonna be at the front of this shit when it started. I wasn't wrong, and I hate the guy.
Right.
Fucking hate the guy.
Ryan, do the duels count for fantasy, or is it just the points races?
No, it's just the points races. So the All-Star race also does not count. So
neither does
I can still procrastinate for the rest of the week and not pick anything.
Yep.
If you're smart, you'll wait till Friday and go to Ryan Dyer's YouTube page and look at his Fantasy Friday episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a bold pick.
All right.
Josh Berry is winning Rookie of the Year.
I don't know if that's really a bold pick. I think he's the expected pick. I mean, out of the 3 drivers, he's the only one driving for what I would consider a top team.
I mean, true.
The other 2 are both Spire Motorsports drivers. So, I mean, a rookie in tire equipment.
Backed by Trackhouse, though.
Yeah, really, but still, it's Spire equipment team comparatively.
Haley Deegan's not going to do well in the Xfinity. Her career is crashing. Her career, I honestly think she's going to be a Cup driver and not end up like having a career like Danica's.
The only thing I would say about that though is that look at what Harrison Burton did in trucks compared to what he did once he got into the Xfinity series.
He was absolute shit in trucks, and then he became one of the top drivers in the Xfinity series.
That's my point. Is that she wasn't very good in the Xfinity series, or she wasn't good in the trucks, but she could pop off in the Xfinity series.
But she's driving for a not so good team, though.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things where it could go good, it could go terribly.
Danny, are you drinking coffee? Or is that beer? I saw that coming. I'm kidding.
Did you have to ask?
Haley Deegan.
You had to ask whether that was beer or coffee? feel like
It
the
looks like a
answer
black
was
rifle.
pretty
Looks like a
obvious
black
there.
rifle.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Looks
coffee.
like a black.
That's beer, not like some watery
Yeah,
American
coffee.
pilsner.
It's totally coffee. I put my coffee in a beer can.
Okay, I'm just saying this right now. I'm mildly special.
That's just how I roll. I try and look cool, so I drink my coffee out of a beer can.
That would be no.
So
I mean-
Ryan, what is some of your Daytona 500 plates for NASCAR Fantasy?
So typically I look at the Fords because the Fords tend to have some of the best teamwork, especially from the advantage in numbers. The Toyotas just don't have. I feel like the Toyotas in the 2016 500 kind of tipped their hand to the point where they kind of gave up the strategy of, oh yeah, we can work together and win, and now Chevy and Ford are doing it as a manufacturer, and they outnumber Toyota significantly. And even with the addition of the new car, or of the additional cars for Toyota, I still think Ford and Chevy have an advantage there. Now, Chevy might be a little bit closer to Ford, but after this past year, but I still think it's a significant advantage to be a Ford at the end of this race.
Mm-hmm.
The Ford seem to last to the end of the races pretty consistently.
The Fords also have better fuel. I noticed Fords seem to have better fuel mileage.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, and that's been a thing for a while because Kurt Busch, when he won his Daytona 500, it was off of a fuel mileage race.
Well, you just never know with Daytona or Talladega, do you? You never know if it's going to play itself out or if it's going to be a caution.
Now, I want to ask something to Jamie or Ryan. So, if we were to go into any races this year, do we want to do a live podcast from the track after the race? If we do go,
I'd be interested.
I mean, it's definitely something that we could do. Typically, when we do these, we want to make sure that everyone else is on board. But I wouldn't be opposed to doing kind of like utilizing like the YouTube forum to do like a live stream of like our reactions, kind of thing.
Like I said, I have like 5 races I'm going to this year. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, if there was one that we were all going to. Something like maybe honestly, the Bristol night race or something?
What track do we all live closest to? That's the next question.
Oh. And say, Rumble and I don't think could get further apart from racetracks.
I mean, the closest track you have, Ryan, is New Hampshire.
Yeah, but Rumble's west coast of Canada, so he's over in California. Pacific time.
He has California.
He doesn't have auto club.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, there's no auto club this year.
I have Kansas. I have Pocono. I can't take Kentucky. I have Watkins Glen. I have Richmond. Yeah. And I also have Gateway within 8 hours of me. And Mid-Ohio for the truck.
And say, Dover's going to have that giant rubber ducky there.
What?
I remember the rubber ducky because I was there. I went to Dover every year except for this is the first year I didn't go. Last year.
Well, this is the first time that Dover is going to be holding the world's largest rubber duck. So it's literally going to be Miles the Monster versus the yellow rubber duck.
Are they Victory Lane?
We need to have Greg mount. Hey, Jamie, if I go there, we got to have Greg mount the giant rubber duck.
I don't want to see Greg mount shit, please.
Oh, sure you do. Sure you do.
Oh no, not that Greg.
No, we can get
Greg the Penguin.
We can get Greg.
Right, so we're
tickets to Atlanta.
I think it was pretty clear in his point that he didn't want to see nobody mounting shit from that conversation. Like, come on, what the fuck?
The rubber duck.
But we're spiraling out of control.
Hey Jamie, I've got one more thing. If you want to do it. I've got a wheel here with every Cup driver. Do we want to spin it and see who the wheel thinks is going to win the race?
Let's do it.
The wheel of randomness predictor. what does the wheel predict the Daytona 500 is going to be? And we will base our picks and combine it against the wheel.
Spin the wheel. Spin the wheel, son. Let's hear it.
The wheel's gonna be like the AI. So, like we're gonna be basing against. It's gonna be 6 of us versus the AI.
Yep.
Where's Vanna White when you need her?
Right.
All right, here we go. So the wheel is in the middle of the screen, and here we go. Let's see who's gonna spin.
Share your screen.
Say I'm spinning it.
I can't see it.
I put it on the. I put it on for the stream.
Okay, well, I'm not on the YouTube page, so you're just gonna have to enlighten me.
Yeah. So the wheel predicts Martin Truex Jr. will win the Daytona 500.
There's no way.
Everybody boo this man. Boo this man.
Hey, it's a bold. Hey, I think it's a bold prediction.
We all pick Ford.
That was funny.
That's what I love about the wheel right here. We all pick Fords and it picks a fucking Toyota.
Hey, we didn't all pick Fords.
Wheel God has spoken.
We did not all pick Fords.
I'm actually a Truex fan. I like the guy. I think he's a good soul, but he ain't won in the fucking 500 this year. That's not happening.
There's nobody I really don't like in the field. I'm pretty chill. I'm just
Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin can go fuck himself.
Yeah, I hate Denny Hamlin. Fuck that guy.
I think Denny's funny.
Denny's a jackass.
I think if you didn't have Denny, you'd be bored.
No, if we didn't have. No, if we didn't have.
Joey Logano's way worse. Way worse.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
Way worse.
If we did, anybody else notice Kyle Busch got more mellow last year?
Well, yeah, because he went to a Chevy. I think the fans were attacking him less because he was in a Chevy too, though, compared to the hate he got when he was in Toyota.
Just the same thing that happened to Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon is because Kyle's at the end of his career and everybody views him positively now because he's about to retire.
Can I actually chirp about this? I have an opinion about this.
All right.
Everybody hated Kyle Busch. I hated Kyle Busch, but all the Chevy guys that hated Kyle Busch, as soon as he went into a Chevy, they were like, "Oh yeah, he's our guy," right? And tell me I'm wrong. Like everybody was like supportive of it. Am I wrong?
Because fuck Toyota.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Retort.
I'm gonna be for real.
Chevy guys were like, Kyle Busch is going to a Chevy car now. We love him, right?
Honestly, oh my God, Ryan, put that fucking piece of shit down.
I had one within arm's reach. One of Kyle Busch's race-winning cars from Bristol.
Actually,
Bristol Spring 2018 from the Kyle and Kyle show.
I can't lie though. That's one of his Skittles schemes are kind of some of the coolest.
Yeah, I didn't. The Skittles schemes.
Respond to my question. That what I'm asking is that Kyle Busch going from was it Gibbs? Yes, in his Toyota, to going to a Chevy and Richard Childress, which seems like to me kind of a demotion where he did very well where he started. And I'm kind of cheering for him. I feel like he's kind of an underdog moving there, and I'm kind of cheering for him.
Honestly, he turned RCR into a championship team.
Oh, RCR was a championship team for at least 7 seasons. So that's kind of a non-starter.
Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick was. I still think Tyler Reddick was a top driver. It sucks that they lost him, but
no, RCR builds very capable cars. You just have to put very capable drivers in them.
Yes, you do. And you're not. You are not wrong.
Just imagine if they put
29 points last season.
Just imagine what if Kyle Larson went to RCR? Would that be a different story?
I think the Hendrick equipment is as good as it could possibly be, but
I think you're all missing. I think
Kyle Larson wins the championship, even if he was an RCR.
I think you're all missing my point. Is that Kyle Busch going to RCR was like the biggest jump when we all knew that Kyle Busch and the stripe that was going on there. We knew something was gonna happen. Did you all think he was going to land at RCR? Like honestly, just honest answers. Like What do you think was gonna really happen?
My personal opinion, I actually thought he was going to not go to a different Toyota team. Honestly, I figured he would have stayed with Toyota and went to a different Toyota team.
I was
I
kind of
figured he
split
would've-
because I didn't really
I
see an
figured he
obvious
would've
landing
landed in
spot for
Hendricks.
him until the RCR
No,
rumors.
they're not going to drop.
No,
They weren't going to drop their Hendrick is set. Even
I
though
figured he
Bowman
would
and,
land in Hendrick.
no.
as much as I hate this,
Kyle and Rick
No.
Hendrick did not get along.
Yeah.
And that's
they wouldn't have gone back. That's
They-
why Kyle got released from Hendrick in 2007, because Kyle and Rick had a very major fallout.
Well, so just to put this in perspective, it was just as big a blast that Kyle was going to land in a Chevy. Do you not agree? That he was going to land in a Chevy. That was the biggest blast of all. He was going to change his truck teams, everything. It was one of the biggest stories in years for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will was
agree.
getting ready to say something on that.
there was
Fire
actually-
away, man. Fire
there was
away.
actually another manufacturer you could have gone to. The only other Toyota team at the time was 2311, and they're very happy with 2 cars at the moment. So
That's all they could support is 2 cars at this time.
And I don't know where he would go in Ford unless Brad wanted another car, and Kyle Busch and Brad. don't get along.
I was say Brad and Kyle never got along,
No.
or Joey and Kyle never got along either.
Nope.
They're not going to fire anybody at Team Penske because they've got a 2-time champion and now a 1-time champion, and one of the owner's sons.
Yeah,
So
and then the team president's son.
yeah,
But why? And back to Hendrick. Not only did he have a fallout, I don't think Hendrick would have released any of their drivers. They're all race-winning drivers.
And
Right,
and
I
they,
get- I
and
get
they're
that.
all under contract till at least 2025.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that.
there's
But-
really no
But to get things back on track, the last thing I wanted to bring up for discussion is since this is the last episode that we're going to have before it is officially race day and the Daytona 500 is getting underway, from having Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson giving the command to just hearing those engines roar and getting things going. What is your favorite Daytona 500 moment? We will start with Will.
Well, my favorite moment is Bubba Wallace winning the 2022 Daytona 500 because Austin Cindric pushed him below the line, and I will die on that hill. But anyway, probably the 2018 race where it's not really the race, but it's the moment after when he and his mom shared that moment. That's probably my favorite because I haven't seen any of the big ones live. I know I'm not old, Rumble. But I didn't see the 98. I didn't see I think I missed the 2007 race, but I guess the 2018 one.
Okay. Rumble.
You want me to answer that question? Yes. So exactly what he just touched on there was Dale getting it finally in 1998. It was epic for me. Just so y'all know, I was actually like, my family's always kind of put together kind of a Daytona get together, and we're gonna have some brunch and hang out. And when they threw that caution, I was like, "That's it. We finally got it. We finally got it." It was epic for me. I was screaming and yelling. I think I scared people that were in the building. All the neighbors heard it. That's it. That is the moment, and I'm sure that's the moment. And that's, you know, what's sad about that is that it's probably the moment for so many people that it's not epic, but for me, that was it. That was it. Once that caution flew and we knew we were getting it, the most epic moment in NASCAR ever.
And not to kind of backtrack, but all the conversations about Kyle Busch, I feel like he's now in that realm of the Dale Earnhardt. And
yes,
I feel like that would be another iconic moment for Daytona if Kyle Busch is to get that illustrious title under his belt as the only thing that he hasn't won yet.
Absolutely.
Well, if he does win it, that just means a few years later he's got to die.
No, please, no,
do that. No.
That's the funniest shit I've ever
Oh man.
You're gonna win, but
All
you're
right.
gonna fucking die.
I do.
Tyler. On that note, we'll go to Tyler.
I'm gonna be a little bit biased for this one. Well, honestly, the 2014 Daytona, the 2014 Daytona 500. I was there, and I got to watch my boy. I got to watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. win his second Daytona 500 live.
That's amazing, right? Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing.
Dude, and I got to listen to the radio because I had my father gave. That was actually a special moment because that was when I went with my dad. He gave me the radio, and I heard Dale Earnhardt yell. I'm like, dude, I was cheering so loud.
Absolutely.
I come back to school and I had videos and everything because nobody believed me. And I literally showed him Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing donut.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Greg.
Well, Tyler kind of stole mine. So, you know, like I said back in episode 1, I really, really got into NASCAR in 2004 when Dale Jr. won his first Daytona 500. And I was a fan of his ever since, up until he retired. But yeah, my favorite Daytona 500 moment has got to be the 2014 500 when he won his second one, 10 years to the day of his first one. And going back to, it was just such a special moment. Like, you know, under the caution, that final caution, he picked up that piece of tape. And everybody thought it was over, and then come to find out that piece of tape came from the 3 car, that was the 3 car's first race back on track in the Cup Series since 2001.
Just thinking about that.
It's like the stars aligned for that one. And I remember waking up, half my neighborhood, I was screaming so loud because it was at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night when the race ended.
Man.
Dude, you should have heard how loud it was.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh my god.
Going back to a couple episodes ago when we were making our original predictions for the 500 winner, not the dark horse, but like just regular predictions, I predicted Kyle Busch winning the 500. So in 2004, the 8 car wins. 10 years later, the 88 car wins. 10 years later, the 8 car wins. The 8 cars got to win.
Actually, if you think about it, if you think about it, that does make sense. I actually like that. Right.
All right. I have a question about this also. I would love to hear from Dale Jr. what he thinks about Kyle Busch winning in the 8 car. Fucking great. I love the idea.
Dude, I can't wait. I want to see Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s face when Kyle Busch wins in the 8 car.
Well, Kyle Busch did have like 2 or 3 wins last year already. He won Auto Club and Talladega.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
Gateway
did.
as well.
And so
he's done better for RCR than anybody has in fucking years. Right away.
So when they first announced that Kyle Busch was going to RCR, on an episode of the Dale Jr. Download, Mike Davis asked Dale Jr. His feelings about them bringing back the 8 car for Kyle Busch to run, and he said that he was 100% okay with it.
Right. That's Dale Jr. Just Dale Jr.
I feel like he would
is a
have
good
to be
fucking
because
person.
they wouldn't just put that number back out there if he wasn't on board with it.
Because Dale Jr. is a good fucking person. He's going to say, I'm good with that. Because that's Dale Jr.
The reason he would have to be against it.
It's Teresa.
Exactly, right.
It's
exactly.
Teresa they
You're
have
right.
to worry about.
Right. There's no reason to be against him.
I want to see Kyle Busch run a Budweiser throwback paint scheme for Darlington.
Yeah, I'd like
to
see that too.
I want to see that.
Ryan, what's your 500 moment?
All right, so mine happened. I think it was about 1,096 days ago when Michael McDowell won the Daytona 500. In 2021.
That was not
me and my good friend Patrick, we were on the phone talking on the phone as the race was coming to an end, and apparently he was about a half lap ahead of me, and he's like, McDowell made it through. McDowell made it through. And I'm like, no, you're just saying this to try and get me excited about it. Then I saw Keselowski and Logano, two guys I'm not a big fan of, spin and crash right in front, and somehow McDowell made it through to win the race. And it was
yellow paint
early in the
scheme.
day, February 14th. And the Love's car
2021.
winning on Valentine's Day was just a cool coincidence too.
That is kind of cool.
There you go.
Jamie, what about you?
In the Love's
like it.
car too.
Yeah.
He was in the Love's car.
That was why I said
I like
it was
it.
Love's car winning on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
I like
Ryan,
it.
do you love that?
Oh yeah, I was loving it.
Apparently he does.
I
told you that.
I'm loving it.
Jamie, share with the group.
So for me, like I purposely went a different route because I knew like the Dale Earnhardts and the Dale Earnhardt Juniors of the world were going to be talked about. I knew Ryan was going to talk about Michael McDowell. I didn't have to look into it. I didn't have to look into a crystal ball to figure that one out.
I could have also gone with my other guy.
So for me, my favorite Daytona 500 moment stems from an underdog. And when I was first freshly getting into NASCAR and really getting back in it ever since the whole Dale Earnhardt Sr. incident was in 2010 when Jamie McMurray edges Dale Earnhardt Jr. and claims his Daytona 500 victory. The thrill of just seeing Dale Jr. split Kevin Harvick and
the fact that he was
I forget who it was on the outside, but he split them right in the middle, shoved that AMP Energy car right in between them, and it looked like if he had one more lap, he was going to have something to say about getting himself another Daytona 500 win. But I was a big fan of Jamie McMurray back then. And again, I'm a sucker for underdog stories, and I was pulling for Jamie McMurray. So that was a really cool moment.
You could have done, Jamie.
That's awesome.
You could have done 2011 too.
It was
That's
funny.
awesome.
Coulda, woulda.
Well, we also already
That's
talked about
awesome.
the 2011 Daytona
I
500
like that
earlier.
because I am an underdog story. I love underdog stories as well. So I do enjoy that.
Honestly,
I think among NASCAR fans love an underdog for some reason.
Well,
So
another. Yeah.
Go ahead, Rumble. Go ahead, Rumble.
No, I just want to say, so everybody hates Kansas City Chiefs because we keep winning and shit. It's easy to hate somebody. Hang on a second. It was easy to hate Jeff Gordon. It was easy to hate Jimmy Johnson because they just kept winning. And I was one of those people. I was like, fuck, I'm sick of watching these guys win every weekend. But that's the easiest thing to do in sports is be like, oh, you're so fucking great, but I fucking hate you because you keep cleaning out my shit. So, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're 100% spot on. That's why a lot of people didn't like Dale Earnhardt. That's why a lot of people didn't like Richard Petty back in the day.
Yes.
Not a lot of people liked. Who was it? That's why a lot of people don't like Denny Hamlin right now. Or Joey. Actually, no, Joey Logano was a fucking dickbag.
Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano are neither fucking that good together. So I'm not quite sure where you're coming at from there.
Ryan,
because
how many races like put together have Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano won? Can you look that up for me, stat guy?
All right.
Logano's
gonna say ballpark would be about it's gonna be
about
in the
over 100 races combined.
No, it's not over 100 because Denny's at what 52.
No,
But
58, 59.
This is something that's really funny. Jamie brought up the 2010 Daytona 500. That's the second time that race has been brought up tonight. I watched that whole race again.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's at 51
Saturday.
wins.
This past Saturday, I watched that whole race from start to finish again. So it's weird that race is getting brought up twice.
But if you dominate things, people will hate you because they want to see their teams win, right? Like if you just dominate,
Byron, apparently
people will hate you. They'll just hate you because you're dominating.
That's why people hated Kyle Larson in 2021.
That's why they hated Jimmy Johnson for years and years. That's why they hated Jeff Gordon for years and years. It's the truth. They will fucking hate you if you're dominating.
Hang on, Larry Mack's got some numbers.
83 total between
he does.
Logano has
Those
32
two
and
drivers together have won almost as many races as Jeff Gordon did his whole career. And if
Yeah,
you want to
No,
count,
they-
if rain wins don't count as wins because apparently they don't. That's as many wins as Jeff Gordon has, right there, more even, because Jeff Gordon won like 9 rain wins.
did he?
So-
I
Joe
thought,
Logano has like 10, like 5 or 6 rain wins.
I don't know.
but
Well,
I'm just talking
real,
shit right now.
real quick.
I've been around long enough. I'm just gonna end this here on just my one point. I've been around long enough that I got sick of watching Jeff Gordon win. I was like, Jesus. I was an Earnhardt fan, and I got just sick of watching Gordon win.
Wonder Boy.
Dude, absolutely. And
Remember?
if I seen Jeff Gordon in person, I'd say, man, you are a racing legend. I'd tell him I'd hope he'd sign my shirt or something. But I'm just saying, if you're not a fan of him and you're watching them win all the time, it's like watching the Patriots win. For years and years, people hate them. They hate them because they're always winning.
over there.
Fuck Tom Brady.
Fuck Tom Brady. That's what I'm
You would
saying,
if he
though.
asked.
I'm just going to shut
I'm
my
a Giants
stupid
fan
mouth.
over here, so shut the hell up.
But
Oh,
hold
you're
on.
having a bad time, man. I'm sorry.
real quick.
ahead, Greg.
We were Will was talking about us bringing up the 2010 500 2 times. I'm going to bring it up a third time real quick with another farmer's fun fact of the day. So that was when NASCAR was consistently making the schedule every year, and Atlanta was the second race of the season, like every single year.
No, Auto Club was.
That particular.
Atlanta was 2015 was the year they started going to Atlanta. Second race of the year.
yeah,
Let Greg finish.
That particular year, Atlanta ran a promotion for whoever won the Daytona 500. That was the price they were going to sell a certain amount of tickets for. And so Jamie McMurray won the race, and so they sold like 10,000 tickets for $1 a piece.
Jeez.
So they had the local news channel down here was down there at Atlanta Motor Speedway with like a big crowd of people, and they had like a big TV screen set up, and every single person watching the end of that race was a Jamie McMurray fan that night because they got tickets for $1 instead of tickets for $88.
Right.
And even 88.
Hey, $88 still wouldn't have been bad, though.
No, I went to the fall Talladega race last year. I was on the start finish line. My ticket was like $98.
Hey, that's where me and my wife are going to be sitting in the spring. We're going to be right at the start finish line.
Who's going to Bristol Spring?
Probably not.
Hang on. I got this.
but yeah, I definitely enjoyed all of this going on, all the craziness. But we do got to get things wrapped up here. So just big shout out to our sponsors, Fanatics. Use our code SSPP10 to get all your NASCAR merchandise geared up for the 2024 NASCAR season. Bulletproof Coffee, Dr. Sasquatch, Sleeves, W Energy, and Duke Cannon. Those are all the sponsors for the Lapdown podcast. I am Jamie. For Ryan, Greg, Rumble, Tyler, and our special guest, Wil Bane. This has been the Lapdown podcast.
Hey.
And without further ado, let's go ahead and wish everybody a great race, great Daytona 500 weekend. And last but certainly not least, deuces!